Good evening, one and all. Welcome along. It is season 5, episode 10. We would love to be bringing you this show. As Benny has said, good and early. It's a very disappointing for the loss. And Elizabeth has said it's knocked the wind from my sails. Gentlemen, how are you both doing?
As good as we can be at this moment. I still don't know how to actually describe that Sunday. I really don't. All this talk before the game, Trey Lance was helping us prepare because he knew the playbook, all this crap. And Dad made the press conference before the game saying, yeah, we're going to make a statement, we're sick of losing them, and this happens. I'm sorry, but what the hell was that?
Pretty much my feelings. Jamie, give us your own thoughts.
I think it put the nail in the coffin for me that this team is not a Super Bowl ready team. It's good enough and probably will just about scrape into the playoffs. But as much as we don't want to say it, we're massively behind the Eagles in terms of talent and what the team is capable of. We're also, if we can somehow get to a Super Bowl, which I don't think we will, we're massively behind the Chiefs. And I know we had a conversation on the way up from work earlier, Brian, and it probably gets me a bit of swaying, but I think that we're behind the Lions, and I thought it's the Lions, but I think the Lions are a more competitive team than us at the minute, and it's just this never-ending cycle in it that we think we're getting somewhere, and then we get the crap show that we got on Sunday, and it's like, when's this team ever going to be relevant again?
Yeah.
I'm glad you kind of mentioned something there, Jamie. With regards to the Super Bowl and stuff like that. If I'm being perfectly honest, the NFC Championship game is probably going to be the hardest game other than the Super Bowl, I think, because the Chiefs have been very suspectful. The AFC is all over the place right now. As of right now, as we can say, it's either 49ers or Eagles are likely to be the favourites in that NFC Championship game. If, hypothetically, we somehow miraculously forget what just happened in that San Francisco game and manage to perform what we expect from our Dallas Cowboys up to that point, it's still going to be the hardest game without a shadow of a doubt.
We love getting your comments in, your thoughts and your opinions. There are a couple of comments I've seen coming in. I want to get to that topic. I'm just not going to bring the points up just yet, but I will come back to your comments. So just because you've said something and I don't pull it up straight away, it doesn't mean we're ignoring what you're saying or anything like that. We do have a kind of a pre-planned idea of what we're going to do when we're going to do it. So just bear with us if your comment's not pulled up straight away. But look, unfortunately, we lost 42-10 on Sunday night football at Levi Stadium. A question I want to ask you both, and I kind of mentioned this in our own admin chat yesterday. Given that we know how San Francisco want to play, San Francisco want to dominate the ball and they want to dominate time of possession. They want to have the ball for roughly 35 minutes at least in every game. Do you gents believe that having won the coin toss, the game was lost then by deferring to the second half?
Yep, straight away. We gave them the opportunity to attack us first. We should have been on the attack on them. I mean, I'm all for being conservative, try and play to your strengths, but there was none of that at all in this game. There was being super conservative, but at the same time, it wasn't the right play calls or anything we were trying to do. Excuse me, which just not seemed to be working at all. Really, the communication with Dak and CD was a wee bit off and stuff like that. Like Dak throwing it into double coverage and stuff like that and getting picked off not once but twice. I think it was 3 interceptions he had in that game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like and I hate to say it, and I've been one of Dak's biggest fans, but now I'm now having doubt.
Yeah.
Like, unless he really puts on his big boy pants and actually do what he says he's going to do. But until now, I do have my doubts now.
I think in terms of deferring, I think you assess it game by game, don't you? Was the game lost still? It's hard to say, but kind of jumping a little bit on pause and kind of agree in terms of get the ball and go at him straight away. You know, they've got arguably the best running back in the league. Brock Purdy is coming on leaps and bounds, and he's like in terms of the diamond in the rough, like he's the new Tom Brady in that sense that they found him, and he's a lot more than what they probably thought he was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a good tight end, they've got a good receiver cores, they've got arguably the best defense in the league. Put them on the back foot early. Don't let them, like you say, run the ball at you straight away, and it was just a horror show from start to finish. And I was chatting to Mike yesterday morning, and it was, I think the most frustrating thing out of the whole game is, we got an absolute tanking, and it was every single touchdown that they scored was pretty much uncontested. Yeah. It was ridiculous. The defending was atrocious for what this defense had been like towards the back end of last season, and it's spits and spats this year. It was horrendous. It was like it just had a massive brain fart and didn't know what to do.
There's only 2 players I can really think of that actually did okay for our defense. One was Jordan Lewis. Obviously, he did the recovery from Christian McCaffrey. He did that. And I don't know what you guys think, but I actually thought up till the injury, LVE was actually having a decent game.
He was your top tackler, and unfortunately, it looks like we've lost him for some game time.
Yeah, but and we were talking about this the day after the game, Brian. We're in no position right now to bring anyone in because we don't have draft picks to give out that which we desperately need more now than ever now, because our offensive line is getting diminished year by year. We're expected to see Tyron Smith to retire maybe end of this year, perhaps. And we've only got 4-round draft picks next year. And with the numbers of linebacker right now, that's my concern now. Because they're dropping like flies. Overshawn out. LVE's going to be missing it for a couple of weeks. Who have we got? Devin Harper and
Jabril Cox both released.
Jabril Cox got released as well, and now we're having to force Micah Parsons back to be placed back into linebacker perhaps now. Just luckily we do have numbers in defensive line, luckily, but we shouldn't be in this situation right now. And I get it, injuries do happen, but when you've got a team like San Francisco that is completely a ragdoll on you about and you don't do anything about it, I'm sorry, but the thing, don't know if it was Greenlaw did to Tony Pollard and stuff like that. See if that was my teammate and I saw him get an absolute slam, I'd be running onto the field and actually throwing fists. I'm sorry, but that was outrageous. There was no fight in this game at all from both sides of the team, from offense to defense. There was no fight whatsoever. I keep using this word, demeanor. Demeanor was low throughout the whole game, in particular CeeDee Lamb. I can understand he was getting frustrated in this game because he was actually creating separation in the slot. He was he was doing slants essentially, but yet that still throws it to Cooks or it was Gallup or something like that. And the place was incomplete, but Lamb was wide open. So I can understand the frustration part on it, but the demeanor was just it just spread like cancer across the team that game. It really did. And yes, I do agree with you in that one. Resembles a fight with Tyler Smith. I do agree with that. Like he seems to be the one who really wants to cause mayhem in that offensive line. He did open up a good few gaps for Dowdo and Pollard at certain points of the game, but when the rest of the offensive line were just struggling, I would say in the run game in particular, I think pass protection we were okay. Like I think it was was it just the one sack or was it 2 sacks yeah, so just the one sack, and I think there was only no less than 10 pressures or something like that. So, so in fairness, the offensive line was okay. Wasn't amazing. They did their job essentially. Was it 4 sacks allowed?
No, I'll check that one, but go on, keep going.
Yeah. So, but other than that, there was just a lot of disconnection throughout the whole team. So, and what annoyed me the most was the post game, Mike McCarthy's comments and stuff like that. I was just like, it just feels as though he just couldn't really give us an actual proper answer to what happened. They just couldn't seem to get it right. You've had 2 years in a row to this same team under Kyle Shanahan, and you still can't get it done. I'm sorry, but come on. This to me was actually worse than the playoff game in terms of performance. By a long shot.
Sorry, it was 4 sacks. Apologies. I had 1 sack. It was 1 sack against 49ers. So there's 3 sacks on Dak and 1 on Cooper Rush. Some of the comments that are coming in here, give the 49ers their dues. They're not ready.
They were the better team. Yeah.
Eagles. You know, there was no fight because we were getting our ass kicked.
I agree with Mark. I do. 49ers well and truly deserved the win. They were the better. I'll put my hand up. We lost to the better team, but I just hate the fact that we lost in that certain way. We just did not put up a fight. That's what I'm really annoyed about more than anything.
The Cowboys Niners games over the years have always been maybe not so much close, but they've been fiery and it's been kind of nip and tuck here and there. But it was an absolute, it was a farce, wasn't it? Just to think that they could play so bad. And what was the calendar game that we were on around? The Cardinals game. Sure, they can't play any worse than what they did against the Cardinals. It was like one of the biggest rivals, and they just
If you're Eagles fans right now, you'd be laughing in your face right now, thinking, "Oh, we cannot wait to play Dallas right now."
So I'm going to ask the question that has popped up repeatedly in the comments already, and unfortunately, it's something we do need to address now. So Andrew started it with, since the first game, the offense has been woeful. Time to look past Dak. Joe has said, I'm starting to believe Dak is not the answer. I'm just trying to look down here through there was other comments.
That says a lot coming from Joe. Joe's like myself. I'm a big Dak fan, massive Dak fan. I'm now starting to have doubts going forward. If that's the way we're going, if that's the way we are supposed to play out there as of a Sunday's game there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I hope we can rectify that huge loss and get back on track. I really do. But like I was kind of saying, it's going to take a lot of work, despite the injuries we've got. All the the miscommunication we've got with wide receivers and tight ends in terms of stuff like that. Just the whole flow, like defense needs to buckle up the ideas and not feel down the fact that like so Diggs is out for the season. Now we've got other players are going to be out for a couple of weeks. So, but yeah, like even Labarski's now saying it as well. So
yeah,
it's everyone's kind of feeling the same. It's like that game really kind of showed because there was that. I have to slightly disagree with you in that one, Elizabeth, because there was a play where CD Lamb was actually wide open in the middle. He ran a slant route and he was wide open, and that chose not to throw it in open space and throw it to, kind of mean it was either Cooks or Gallup or something like that.
I think it was Brandon Cooks down sideline.
And that was the interception, I believe, wasn't it?
No, it was out of bounds.
Out of bounds, yeah.
Sideline.
And you can see CD Lamb's reaction. He was like, throwing his arms up in the air and head was down, walking off to the sideline.
Yeah.
So there was some questionable decisions from Dak, like in terms of like, what did he see CD Lamb at that point was still getting tracked, and as he turned away, then there was a separation. Possibly, we don't like. I mean, it's a hard one to say, really, but
like Joe has come back in. I'll throw this to you, Jamie. Don't get me wrong, I love Dak, so I said that with a heavy heart. Elizabeth has kind of said, Paul, that was one play out of how many, and I mean
that's fair. That's fair.
There weren't that many, but Jamie, giving you your opinion on it, you know. You're not, it's not to say you're a critic of Dak. You would be quite balanced in how you'd say things, but you've kind of had the feeling for about 2 years you don't think Dak is going to get it done, and maybe it's time to look past him. So give us your...
Yeah, I think everyone's always critical of the quarterback position because if you've not got the right quarterback, you're not going to win a Super Bowl. It's just... We've had him for 8 years now. If you look at the talent that he's had around him, and I know it's a team game, but everyone, the quarterback position is criticised a lot more. The leader of the team, it's the one everyone looks to when he finishes way wrong. And it just gets flustered so many times, so often. And if you look at some of the greats over the years, look at Peyton Manning, you look at Tom Brady, look at Aaron Rodgers, and if you're looking a bit closer to home at the minute, look at...
Oh, Brian's disappeared.
Look at Patrick Mahomes. Don't get flustered. You can rely on them when the shit is the fan, you can rely on them, and we can't, and it's getting to that point. It's like, when's enough? I know we snookered Darwin with dead cap, blah blah blah, and all this kind of stuff, and you've got to be very cautious when making the move. But it's do we start looking at a replacement? Because 8 years is too long to sit there and say, well, Dak can win us. Dak can't win us a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
a nice guy, like him, like everything he stands for.
Yeah,
his heart's in the right place. He plays hard, but he just gets flustered too much. He makes stupid mistakes. Like one of the interceptions you could probably you can get it. You can let him off because it gallops hands, and that's one of the things. But the two that he threw, I did a bit with Michael. The first one, I think he overthrew it. I get what Mike was saying in terms of he was hoping that the wide receiver would be there and he'd be a bit more sweet. I thought he overthrew it. And the third one was just horrendous. It was like, what was he looking at? Because the receiver wasn't open. He might as well just handed the ball over because it was an awful. It's just there's just too many of this from Dak lately, and I think it's time to start looking for somewhere else.
The problem we have with that, though, Jamie, is we don't really have any freeway to what we do for next year or anything like that as of right now, because we're very unlimited in terms of future picks and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
he's going to be a Cowboy regardless. But
I was saying to.
I was going to say, Mark raises another good point here. It's way too early to press the panic button. How many times over Dak's career, like, has he really had a bad game and he has came back? He's done that quite a lot. So I'm not ready to push the panic button at all. I'm not. Yeah. I still think we're still going to make a challenge to the NFC East 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. But do I feel confident in playing the Eagles and the Niners in the playoffs? I do have my doubts, but I'm trying to be as realistic as possible. But then again, any given Sunday, like every game's a new game. Like you could, like, for all we know, when we're playing against the Eagles in a couple of weeks' time, we might actually blow them out. Surprisingly, who knows? That anything could happen. But realistically, as things are kind of looking right now, it's not looking very promising. But I'm not putting the panic button on it yet. Do I still think we can still make the challenge? Yes. Do I still think that we're still going to make good, massive plays down the line? Yeah. But as long as we can nail out the issues that is our wide receivers create the separation, get open, and allow that to actually get the ball to him. Because let's be honest, like when you look at the Giants game, the Patriots game, and the Jets game, his ball to passing ratio, his passer rating, and stuff like that was actually really, really good. Like, and when the balls were like, and it was proper red dot, it was like proper, like, accurate. And the only times were drop balls at the time.
Yeah.
So just need to kind of bear that in mind as well. This was probably one of Dak's worst games by far, I would say.
Here's the thing, Paul, and I want to go back to this because JXL kind of encapsulates a lot of my opinions on Dak. He's saying he's been a fan since the Danny White days in the 80s, through Troy Aikman and Tony Romo and everyone else in between. Dak, when you need him to be the difference in big games, just doesn't have it.
I would
proven over and over and over.
I was kind of thinking along especially the last part of that comment, on the same lines of when the game's on the line, and I know we're far off it, but let's just use it because it's a good example to use it. Cowboys are down 4 points in the Super Bowl with 1:30 to go. We've got the ball on our own 20. Are you confident that Dak Prescott could drive that ball down that field with that much pressure? I don't think he could, personally.
I just hope this game becomes the real reality check. Like, Elizabeth just really summed it up there perfectly. Can you bring up her comment?
Yeah.
Arizona's like the happy moment. San Francisco is the wake-up call. Yeah. I hope that is the case.
I honestly hope that we're all proven wrong, and it's.
I really do. And if there's one thing we always say, Jamie, there's one thing we always say: we love eating humble pie.
Yeah.
They really do. Like, we love to be proven wrong. Like, because again, we're not experts. We're fans. End of the day, we like to express our emotions and stuff like that. But I want to ask you guys a question, and this is not actually related to Dallas. This is actually related to San Francisco. What do you think about Brock Purdy? I actually think now, like, him being Mr. Irrelevant is completely unrelevant now. Like, I know it's. I think he does kind of deserve respect in a way, because we were mocking him like back in the playoff game. He's undefeated in the regular season and stuff like that. He's now beat us. They are like just completely game controlled us from the get go. I think I'm just saying, like, I need to give some respect to him, like. You know,
he's the real deal, isn't he? You could argue that he's top 10 in the league as well. He's one of them. Even though he doesn't play that, it's one of them feel good stories in terms of just what the whole thing of Mr. Irrelevant is. Blah blah blah, and he ended up beating out who they thought were going to be their heir apparent, and it's Like you watch some of the stuff on social media. I seen him the other day, and he seems he's not letting it get to his head. He's like he still lives with a defensive lineman.
He's embracing the moment, Jamie. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So the reason I asked that is, and this goes back to my same question when it comes to quarterbacks. When you look at, and it's kind of saying to what Mark Anthony's saying about Trent Dilfer in one of his comments. When you look at it, right, Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, Mitchell Trubisky, all these first-round draft pick quarterbacks, right? Not cutting the mustard, right? And the point I'm trying to make is like, it doesn't matter where you get your quarterback. If the quarterback fits your system and you can get him functioning, he's gonna be good. Like, obviously, when it comes to Brock Purdy, it fits in Shanahan's system. That's the point I'm trying to make here. My point is Dak actually suitable for this type of point? And sorry, Brian, I know you want to jump in.
So here's my thing, and here's my take on Brock Purdy. He's a system quarterback.
Yeah.
Put him into a different team. Put him into a team which doesn't have possibly the best offensive line, that doesn't have the top running back in the game, who can play out of the backfield, who doesn't have a top 5 tight end, who doesn't have 2 very, very good wide receivers as well.
Is that not what you want, though? Is that not what you want? A system? You want someone that can run your offense perfectly.
Yeah,
he runs that offense perfectly.
Yeah,
because let's be honest here, like, because everyone talks about, oh, he's so athletic, etc., etc. As long as you've got that in terms of reading the plays, like Brady did, like whoever, like if they can read the game, Romo, perfect example as well. He can read the game, right? You can cause some serious damage. You don't have to be a highlight reel like your Lamar Jackson's having to rush the ball and stuff like that. You don't have to be like, just throw it, dunk it over to the wide receiver, and they'll do the work for you. That's part of the whole system quarterback. So again, like, this is all credit to San Francisco. They beat us by coaching. They beat us on the field. They beat us by just absolutely trash talking as well. Like, even on the field with what's his face, George Kittle did. But
yeah,
it is what it is, isn't it? We just need to kind of we need to try and shake it off and try and move on from it.
So if you look at it, as you were kind of saying, Paul, like, yeah, he's a good system quarterback. Want to bring this back to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
right?
Sorry, I diverged.
No. We can always do tangents here. We always do. But Mike McCarthy he got rid of Kellen Moore last season, right? And he wanted to install a new offensive system. And this West Coast, Texas coast, whatever kind of coast system you want to call it, is not working. And it's not working because you brought back a running back who broke his leg last year. Your wide receiver 1 is not living up to the potential. You have unproven guys at tight end. Your only real addition to that offensive core was Brandon Cooks, who you're not using. And your offensive line is a year older, a year more battered, and a year closer to the scrap heap. So you want this new system, but you've done nothing to improve it.
And that's, you know what the funny thing is about the Brandon Cooks edition? He's purely designed for the West Coast. He is designed for that. Like, even though he can run deep routes as well, he's done that. He's probably one of the most consistent 1,000-yard wide receivers in the league. But if we're not utilizing him to a system where he could easily flourish on, it's just not happening. So there has been, And Labarski's asking, has he been inactive? No, he's been on the field. He's been on the field.
I think that might have been a bit of sarcasm.
I know. Labarski with his trolling as usual. I love you. I do love you, mate.
And Elizabeth's kind of adding in there to sorry, I dropped out there for a second. Elizabeth's adding to your point, Paul, there. We've multiple weapons, only using 2 at most.
Yeah. And here's the thing that annoyed me about the game at the very first start the drive. The very first drive by our offense. I get he's our second round tight end and stuff like that, but I still feel he's got a lot of catch up. Why was Drake Ferguson not on the field at that time when we needed him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't fathom that. I can't understand that one. Like, don't get me wrong, Ferguson, like, he has dropped 1 or 2 passes, yeah, but I would trust him more than like the Shoemaker and Hendershot as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
So why was he not on the field at that time? I do not know. Because that could have been big in that first drive.
Yeah, it's true. Look, we're nearly 35 minutes into the show and we haven't even moved on to the news as yet.
Oh,
but it's great to have a therapy session. So as we say, look, there's multiple injuries coming out of that game. Cavante Turpin, 4 to 6 weeks, likely gone to IR. LV likely gone to IR. CG Goodwin is done for the season. I mean, which or are all of those injuries going to have a significant impact?
LVE, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt, LVE. Yeah. I just seen Labostri's comment there. Please, no.
Jamie, give us your thoughts there. What's the biggest injury concern coming out of that game?
I think you could say all of them. Because just because they played that bad when they were in there.
Mm-hmm.
What could happen when you essentially having to put backups in? And that's no disrespect to the backups. It's just that they've not had the game time. They're not going to have the repetition. They're not going to have the same thinking as the stars. And it's like, it's got a little bit of a feeling. I don't know if it's just because we're going off on a tangent. But as the wheels come off for this season already, and what I mean by that is that we had the little stutter against Arizona, and we thought, right, that was just a one-off. We've had 3 good wins, and it's like, did we need that? Did we need somebody to give us that kick up the backside to say, look, this is where the Cowboys are actually at. The Cowboys are not as good as what we actually think they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the guys are going to touch on it first, but it don't get any easier this week. And then after that, it don't get any easier as it comes down. And it's like, not so, but are we going to go into the UK Cowboys trip and we're going to be under 500? And it's like, are we just... I don't want to say, Paul, but you know what I mean.
Jamie, I don't think about it till 1 week before we fly out. That's all I'm going to say about it. Like, if we're under 500, we're going to make the most of it. If we're over 500, we're even going to make the most of it. Regardless, we're going to make the most of it.
I don't know if it's just because it feels like one of Brian's rant special shows, and it's like, let's just get it off his chest now, and we can go to bed and reset tomorrow.
I don't know. I don't know about you boys. I cannot deal with another late kickoff again. That like these 1 a.m. kickoffs are severely draining the life out of me. Like,
see, I think that's one of the things as well, isn't it? Like, and not to say that
that's probably why we're a lot more grumpier than usual.
Yeah, They're saying that it's not that we should get any special treatment, but like, oh my God. But it's like you stay up from 1:30 till almost 5:30 in the morning and you watch that and it's like, Jesus, do we stay up for that? And it's, whereas like, I'm a bit envious of our friends and family across the pond because like, they can kind of, they're still in the midst of the night, are they? So they can kind of drink it away and it's like, oh, we've got to then get up, lack of sleep, straight into work, and it's like shit. For a better use of the language.
I'm actually just checking to see, like, because you know how we're talking about the injuries and stuff like that, and like the linebackers and stuff like that. I'm just looking right now in terms of who's free in the market right now.
Anthony Barr.
Yeah.
Is the top available linebacker.
Devin White's a part. I don't know if this is right, but Devin White is.
Yeah. Mike said that earlier. Devin White is available.
Bobby Wagner.
No, Bobby Wagner went back to the Seahawks.
Oh, did they? Right.
Yeah.
There's Jordan Hicks apparently.
He's in his mid-30s.
Still take him.
I always sat there and thought, like, because you see teams do it year in, year out, don't you? And it's like, when's the Cowboys rebuild ever going to come? But then I watched the thing the other day, and somebody said that while the Cowboys are making this amount of money year in, year out, the Cowboys will never go full-blown rebuild.
Sorry, Jamie. What did I say for what made Labowski say? Sorry, Paul. I'm looking at one next week.
We're Monday Night Football next week.
Sorry, say that again.
We're Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
And even worse, Paul, is the Chargers and all.
Thanks, Labowski. Cheers for reminding me of that one.
Paul was just getting out of that ranty mood and kind of perked up and all of a sudden he's just been kicked back down.
I'm not joking. You can actually still see the bags in my eyes right now from Sunday night.
So a question I have for both of you, and Joe has put one in here. I see Jerry Jones making a trade at the trade deadline.
Definitely not, unless we're trading a player for
that
someone
was
else.
The question I was going to ask, Paul. Myself and Jamie spoke about this earlier.
Yeah, because
we said they need to get guys out.
Yeah, like there's certain players that we could probably easily get rid of and bring someone else in to help fill other positions in need, for sure. But we have nothing. Well, we do have draft picks, but we need them. We've only got 4 for next year.
I checked that out. We actually have 8.
Oh, we've got 8?
Yeah, so we've our first, our second, and our third, but then we've nothing until nearly the end of the 6th. And then we've 2 compensatory picks in the 6th, and then we have our 7th and the Las Vegas Raiders 7th.
You can have a bundle summer party to get up back that order.
Because I thought the Eric Scott Jr. trade helped basically
that was our 5th.
Because we gave up that.
Yeah.
And I genuinely thought we only had 4.
No, I know we mentioned this earlier, Paul, and that's why I went and checked it. Because I thought they were missing a 6th as well, but
hold on, yeah, I just want to double check as well, man, because I've been thinking this all bloody.
With that, then you could probably say 5 or 6 because those late round picks they're going to package up to move up at some in some way out there. There'll be a player at the back end of the draft that they're like. It generally is, and so you'll probably only see 5 of those being used in terms of making a pick.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, but then what do you prioritize to bring in? Do you bring in, like say, like bosses? It's scary how thin that linebacker core is now. Well, the Sunday night showed that we need help in the secondary. But then, do you look the other way and you think, right, can this defense really hold teams to less than 30 points? So do you go out and get another weapon for Dak? I know that you can start banging 40, 50 points on a game and just blitz them that way.
Eight.
Which
So
way
it's
do you
not.
go?
So 8 picks. So it's not as bad as I thought. Then we could probably maybe trade away one of the compensation picks. But is that possible? Is Brian frozen? Yeah, he's
Yeah, I think
frozen.
he's gone again. Isn't he?
He's back. There he is. You there, Brian? Brian.
Yeah.
Yep, you all good?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Brian.
Lebarski is suggesting we trade Neville Gallimore.
I like it. I like the trade. I think they're getting more, but
there has to be that would obviously would never happen. But and everyone knows I'm a big Neville Gallimore fan, but he's not going to make the team. He's not going to last at the Cowboys, unfortunately. And Brian's gone once again. News on Bland and Lewis injuries. Unfortunately, Brian had all the notes, so we don't have it right now. So we're just doing this on the fly right now, Lebarski. But we're kind of still talking about it. So guys, see everyone in the comments. In terms of right now, what would you say is our biggest problem position-wise in the Dallas Cowboys? Because we would like to know what you guys think. Because as for me right now, I don't think it's offensive line. I think as of right now, I think our biggest problems is possibly either wide receiver or linebacker.
Yeah, I think I agree in terms of linebacker. I just think it just seems so thin, doesn't it? That if someone like a Cooks goes down, see you've got a decent tight end group there that can pick up the slack what he would bring. But what do you do in terms of linebacker? Does this now mean Micah Parsons moves back to that position more than playing at the end? But then what happens at the end? Oh, it's one of them ideas that you don't really want in it.
Yeah, Joe made the comment earlier. He can see. See if I can bring the comment. What Joe mentioned about Parsons. Yeah. So now that LVE is gone, I believe Parsons will go back to full-time linebacker. I think that's going to have to be the case because if there's one thing that we do have is we do have numbers in terms of defensive line. We do have that. So Dante Fowler, Osa Digizua, Mazi. God, let me just get the roster back up again. So you've got.
Don't miss my boy out, Paul. Come on, boy. Don't miss my boy out.
I'm going to get out. So for D-Law, Sam Williams, Falemi Fahoko, Jonathan Hankins, Mazzy Smith, Osa Digizua, Neville Gallimore, Chancey Golston, Dorrance Armstrong, and Dante Fowler. And according to ESPN right now, they've actually moved Micah Parsons out of the defensive line depth chart and put him into the Sam linebacker position.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they think that's what's going to happen as well. So we probably expect to see Micah Parsons playing Sam linebacker because and this is what's terrifying me right now. In terms of linebackers right now, Damone Clark and Micah Parsons, and if you want to count Marquise Bell as a linebacker, that's it. Leighton Vander Esch is quit. He's out. The Marvin Overshawn is out. So we've only literally got 5 linebackers on this roster right now. So this is where I'm really, because as of right now, we've got 8 cornerbacks right now. 8. Is that maybe one position we might have to get rid of? Because looking at it right now, you've got CJ Goodwin, he's going to be out. Nashawn Wright is out. Trayvon Diggs is out. So that leaves Stephen Gilmore, Jordan Lewis, DeLone Brand, Noah, who we just acquired from the Dolphins, and Eric Scott Jr. In terms of safeties, we've got Kearse, McQuamu, Wilson, Hooker, and Thomas, who's pretty much done for. He's there for special teams. So we are very, very thin when it comes to linebacker, and we do have more than, I would say, just above average in terms of secondary, I think.
Could we see then Curse a bit more? I know he's played a little bit of linebacker under Dan Quinn, so that could be a bit of a help, but it's not a long-term solution, is it?
Yeah, and just to answer Elizabeth's question, was Donovan Wilson injured? I will just get that for you right now. So according to ESPN, they are saying Wilson went down with a right leg injury in the fourth quarter in Sunday's contest with the 49ers. Michael Gilkin of the Dallas Morning News reports. He's now put down as questionable in terms of the game against the Los Angeles Chargers. So it's definitely one they need to keep a close eye on. So just need to wait and see. Other than that, let me just check. So as we were talking about Leighton Vander Esch, as we know, it's the neck injury, one we've been really worried about for time and over. Like, has his neck going to even last in the NFL? So, but he's now put on injury reserve, so we don't know the time or anything. And that there's nothing being stated as far as I know. And this was reported 1 day ago from Calvin Watkins of DallasNews.com. So, yeah, it's not looking good. And I think Brian's still having technical issues of getting back on at the moment.
He's going to restart.
Yeah. But so let me just go and recheck the comments, see what you guys have your concerns about in terms of positions. So, Tim, welcome. Good to see you back in the comments. Good, sir. Our biggest problem has always been stopping the run fast. NFL's than its pass rush, so we still have that same issue. Joe agrees about the linebacker, receiver, and cornerback. I mean, cornerback, I thought Gilmore had a decent game. I think it's just unfortunate that Diggs got injured, and it's now left at there's levels above difference between your starter and your backup where it comes to Diggs. And when you've got another guy on the other side that is very complementary to Diggs, because we saw that happen with the Giants, we saw that against the Giants, and it was so complementary how they two were in sync. So it's a tough one. But there's no one we can bring up from the practice squad. Elizabeth is asking. I believe there could be. I don't have the list of all the practice squad players as of right now, but I can look into it for you. But Jamie, tell me, what do we do here in terms of, like, because we were asking about like how we're going to trade for certain players or like certain positions to kind of help cater. Did we bring the players from the practice squad and stuff like that? What do we do here?
No disrespect to the practice squad, but they're going to be then the bottom of the roster and they're there to make numbers apart there. I think they're snookered in a way, aren't they? Because, like you say, we've not got an array of draft picks that can really do anything unless you're going to trade away future ones. But then, are you putting all the eggs in one basket for this year? Anybody that's a free agent now still is a free agent for a reason. Teams aren't going to give up their best players. So I think you snookered a bit high. I think you've got to play it out a couple more weeks just to see where this goes and what this group is capable of. And then you're going to have to, you think you're going to be looking at, let's have a look.
Yeah,
maybe the bye week. Go to the bye week and then make a decision. No, sorry, Tyler. The Rams, the Rams game. Sorry, go with the Rams the week after the bye, and then you make a decision because you've had 2 more games, and I think you'll know more where your season's going to be panning out to go by then.
Yeah, so I've got the practice squad up just now. Yeah, and Brian is officially back. There he is.
Sorry about that.
You all good? You all good?
What's he got again?
Oh no, don't tell me he's frozen again. Yeah.
Just like the Cowboys season.
Oh, freezing. Yeah, we're freezing up in the moment. Yeah. So I've got the list of all the practice squad players here. So we've got El Bostic Jr. tackle, Josh Butler cornerback, Malik Davis running back, Princeton Fant tight end, Sean Harlow center, Malik Jefferson linebacker. That's one mention that was in the comments there, but I think that was Labarski that mentioned that. Tylen Billy Johnson, wide receiver, Mikel Jones or Michael Jones, linebacker from Syracuse. Sean McEwen, tight end, who's been elevated to the team from a couple of games. Jalen Morano-Cropper, wide receiver. Wellington Pavilion, defensive tackle. Billy Price, the guy we just acquired not that long ago. He center from Ohio State. Cedric Redwine, defensive back. Alex Taylor Prelu, I cannot pronounce his name. I do apologize. Offensive line, and Tyrese Wheat, defensive end. So that's what we've got in the practice squad. So
there's nothing there. No,
I tend to disagree with you on that one, Jamie. Like in terms of like Billy Price, in terms of offensive line, he can bring us something, but in terms of linebacker, Malik Jefferson can do a job. He can do it, but I don't know too much about the Michael Jones kid. I don't know too much about him. I mean, he is a rookie. He is an absolute rookie. So it could be one of those situations where we had the lone brand coming into the fold last year, and he might actually just bring in a whole different perspective. It could be that, but
it's just a loss of the production that LVE gives you, doesn't it? That you think the only way to subsidize that is go out and get someone. But
yeah, I'm just like Mark really nailed this in the coffin. Playing the 49ers exposed a lot about the Cowboys' weaknesses, but I still believe the Cowboys are in the top 5 teams in the league. It's not that the Cowboys are a terrible team, which I do agree, because we have proven that against Patriots, Giants, and Jets. But it's not that the Cowboys are a terrible team. The 49ers are that good. Yeah, because this is what we were saying. Like, you can't help but compliment San Francisco. What Kyle Shanahan has done for San Francisco. People, and I, for one, I slated the trade for Christian McCaffrey. I thought Christian McCaffrey was literally done because of his injury history. He's turned his career around since going to San Francisco, because he was getting injured. Everyone was going mad in fantasy football. Like, McCaffrey's out for the season, or he's going to miss 2 weeks there or miss 3 weeks there. But since he's went to San Francisco, revitalized, injury-free, causing absolute carnage for San Francisco. In terms of the game management, Brock Purdy's been fantastic. Fred Warner, the linebacker, without a doubt, I think he's playing one of his best seasons in the NFL as of right now. So up and down the whole board in terms of the offense and defense, San Francisco, I think, are the complete package right now. And unfortunately for us, we got the full wrath of it.
Yeah,
we got the full unleash the Kraken on us, essentially.
Just looking at the teams, I get what it's about. I just don't agree that the Cowboys are a top 5 team at the minute. Looking at through the NFL, I mean, so in the AFC, Dolphins are better than the Cowboys. Bills are better than the Cowboys. The Chiefs.
I don't know about the Bills. I mean, I don't know. They did not play a good game in London this week, so
that could be because they travel late. You never know. The Jags, I think the Jags are better than the Cowboys at the minute.
As of right now,
Eagles, Niners, Seahawks. The Lions are better than the Cowboys at the minute. There's quite a few out there that I would not want to come up against.
See, and that's See, this kind of goes back to what Mark Canfield was saying. I think it's, and I completely agree with him. I think it's way too early to push the panic button right now, because right now we are panicking quite a bit. Like, because we're thinking about the Eagles, we're thinking about the Bills, we're thinking about all these other teams based on that last week's performance. But like I keep saying, any given Sunday, we could, who knows, we might actually go into, maybe not so, I don't know about this game against the Chargers, but I'm more being more specific towards the Eagles game in a couple of weeks' time. Who knows to say, we might actually absolutely dominate the Eagles and blow them out of the water.
Yeah, no, like
Who
say
knows? Who knows?
but yeah, it's definitely too early to push the panic button. But I think the hands slightly hovering over it at the minute. Like I say, I think if you look at the next few games coming up, got the Chargers this week, then we're on bye, then we've got the Rams,
Oh,
and then
wait,
the Eagles. That's three tough games to be up against over the next 4 weeks.
yeah. Lebarski, I'm going to dispute that. Cowboys beat the Jags in 2014. We were there. And
Destroyed me in London as well.
destroyed Jacksonville. Had no effect on the Cowboys for less than a week, I believe.
I think they were out early. When I think the Cowboys arrived Tuesday morning. They arrived in London.
But sort of Tuesday to the Monday is what I mean. It was less than a week.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. I think the Bills arrived pretty late in the week, which I think when you look back, I think a lot of teams have fallen foul of that. Like you say, that time difference, and especially the weather as well. Like, yeah, we've been a little bit lucky the last few weeks, but it's been that November weather is not normally nice.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to think of how everyone's kind of feeling right now in the comments right now. So LaPass is saying we can't just give them the pass. I totally agree. We can give them the pass. I think, I just hope this is a massive, massive reality check to really wake the hell up and actually get the big boy pants on, pretty much. Because I agree what Mark's saying. I agree what Lebarski's saying. It's like, we shouldn't panic, but we should still actually show our disgust on that performance. No, because it was an attitude thing for me, I think. You know.
So I agree. I think what it needs is it's kind of ringing the same conversation we had the other week after the Cardinals lost. It needs a Patriot style performance this week.
But even still, though, Jamie, like there was a lot of qualms with the Patriots game that we were only 1 for 5 in the red zone and stuff like that.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
but in terms of a blowout win kind of thing, it needs to be a blowout win, doesn't it? That's the only way to go. A 17-14 scrappy win is not going to cut it, is it?
No. Like, we can't rely on the defense to help. Like, we, as the office, still need to put points on the board. And if there's one good actual godsend about that, like, if anything about this game, is our kicking game right now. Brandon Aubrey.
He was the one shining light from a horrendous night.
Who would have thought our biggest concern going into this season is now our strongest point? Who would have thought that?
Very true, yeah. It's weird how the world works, doesn't it, sometimes?
It's insane. But guys, I'm really curious to know, like, did anyone here on the chat, did they believe in Brandon Aubrey? Let's be honest here. Did anyone have any belief? Because I certainly did not. But now I am in Aubrey we trust right now. So, but if you can send us your comments in, that would be amazing. Let's just have a wee look at what everyone else is saying at the moment. Ash, good to see that you're back. You need some therapy. Yeah. I think a lot of us turned to the bottle over that game, to be honest. But
could do with some later, couldn't we?
And hopefully, Brian is officially back. Are you good now?
Drum roll.
I think so.
Am I back? Sorry, lads.
Come in, Brian.
I'm coming in. Sorry about that. Internet connection issues, gentlemen. Apologies. I've been following you on YouTube, so I can see you've been doing great.
And you had the audacity to slate Jamie for his connection.
Yes. Thank you, Paul.
I know. It's always worked like that.
And I think there may be a wee slight delay from your side because me and Jamie are a wee bit in sync, but I think you maybe like a wee half a second after us now. Yeah.
It's standard though, isn't it? Even with Chai, he's always a little bit behind, isn't he?
Oh dear, the slight delay laugh there. Oh, amazing. So Brian, we were just talking about practice squad and a few other things. We were talking about Brandon Aubrey there. So, but yeah, do you want to take back control now?
No, keep going. In case I drop out.
Well, I think that was pretty much it. Like, I think we're all just kind of we are feeling a wee bit deflated. When I say a little bit, we are deflated after that game. I think it's just now a matter of the coaches really get their head out their ass pretty much and start actually utilizing what the West Coast offense is supposed to be, utilizing the actual weapons, and the wide receivers needs to work extensively to create that separation. And I mean, there is a lot of things that needs to be improved based on that game, but I'm not panicking. I'm not. I just say it's one of those ones where we still need to really tell everyone at Dallas is like, this is not acceptable. Like, we know that you guys are capable of doing good, but you guys really, it's just, yeah. I don't know what else to say.
I do. I didn't realize Lauren Draper Wood was living in Sicily.
Huh?
Joe's comment.
Ah. What would we do to bring Sean Lee back? Just get him cloned, injury free, give him the body of Ray Lewis. That would have been bloody perfect.
Yeah.
Make him an absolute Hulk.
Guys, a question I have for both of you, and if you've already covered it, I do apologize. Does Dan Quinn get a pass out of this game?
Nope.
Nobody gets a pass out of this game.
No one gets a pass.
No one. Everyone gets a slap.
Okay.
Yep, definitely. No, straight to the point. No one gets a pass. No one's safe. No one.
Because, like, for me, when a defense concedes 42 points, you have to ask questions of your defensive system. And I accept there were injuries and there were changes. You're missing Trayvon Diggs, your starting corner. Stephon Gilmore hasn't stepped up really since he got here. You know, your secondary were gashed. Jaron Curse, although he had great figures, you know, you expect him to be your tight end killer, and he wasn't. George Kittle had 3 touchdowns. You know, so what do you expect? What do you want to see from the defense without going too far into the Chargers pregame show? What do you want to see from the defense next week?
Cut out mistakes. Stick to your assignments at least. At least. But one thing we haven't actually talked about was our inability to hit our defensive line gaps or offensive line gaps. We sacked Purdy once and only 7 pressures. To me, with the capability that we should have, it didn't feel like we did enough. I think we didn't put too much pressure on Purdy to make any mistakes at all. So I think that needs to be a kick up. That Aiden Dudley needs to really kick up our D line's butts as well. Really having a good ball looking. Like, because I didn't think there was anything wrong with the defensive line scheme in terms of their gap assignments or our linebackers hitting the gaps. It was more of the execution. Like, they were just getting literally manhandled at certain times. So I'm just like, crazy. Yeah.
Like, again, you've kind of given Brandon Aubrey his credit. I think the only other guy that's getting a bit of credit out of this game is our punter, Brian Anger.
Oh yeah, punters are people as well.
Again, like, the man he's playing at an all-pro level, and unfortunately, due to our inability to get the offense going at all, he couldn't flip the field in the way you would want your punter to do in terms of putting the ball into the 20. But I mean, you know, without Aubrey, without Brian Anger, this season could look an awful lot different.
It could be, potentially, but again, it's that word. It could have been, it could have not. We just need to wait. We just need to basically just wait and see how next week unfolds and how the season progresses. But like what Mark's saying, it's not. Don't rush to push the panic button just yet.
Mm-hmm.
We've still got 12 games left this season.
Yeah,
12 games. Still a lot of football to go.
And I suppose that's probably the biggest concern coming out of Sunday's game was we know there's 12 games to go and likely a playoff game. But we know we're not going to get past San Francisco or that team up north. And
who knows? Well, Eagles, we don't know because, like, I know I'm kind of maybe sidetracked. As of right now, because the Eagles are 5-0 right now, but let's be brutally honest with the Eagles. Have they really been super impressive in comparison to San Francisco? I would say not.
They haven't.
Like, there's been a couple of games they've scraped to win, i.e. they just barely beat the Patriots, for example. So, and I've kind of mind what other game it was as well. They really struggled against. I think it was like the Commanders. There you go. Yeah, Washington Commanders. There you go.
If you want to do the comparison, I think, is it something like their last 12 regular season games, San Francisco have won all of them, and they've put up 30 points in all of those games as well.
Yeah.
That they're constantly firing on all cylinders. And you could, in fact, say they were a quarterback injury away from getting to a Super Bowl. Because if you look at it, that game last season, it turned as soon as Purdy went out, and they had to go to Johnson at quarterback.
So Eagles are not that good and very predictable. And that's the thing, though. Like, I know we're jumping the gun here, but like, if we were to go up against the Eagles, I wouldn't be as concerned, but we still need to take them as serious.
Yeah.
With any other game, like, we need to be we need to go into every single game now without any smug, any what's the word, Brian? I'm trying to think, like being up yourself, like having that, like trying to say, like being overconfident. We need to go into this game to really be pissed off, and I'm sorry to say that. You need to go into every game now feeling pissed off that you want to actually wreck someone. I really do.
Like, I think Mark Anthony is making a good point here in terms of, he says their defense can be great at times, but they're just as questionable as we are. And I think that kind of ties into the point you're making, Paul, in that they're winning games, and winning creates winning. Indecision, indecisiveness, up and down creates that rocky atmosphere that you don't get over the line when you're close.
And when you compare the Eagles to San Francisco, it's like if you were to put them head to head right now, San Francisco would wipe the floors of the Eagles.
Yeah.
Straight on, because let's be honest here, like San Francisco, they do fire out all cylinders in both aspects of the game. Offensively with McCaffrey, Ayuk, who's
Debo Samuel, George
Debo, Kettle. You've got those four offensive weapons there with a situational quarterback based on your system. And in terms of the defense, you've got bloody Fred Warner, who was just an absolute tank against us there. He absolutely could, like, him running across sideline to sideline was just ridiculous. I just like what I would love to have as a linebacker like that for our team right now. Like,
I don't know, you know, I think it would be, I think it'd be a close game, and I know we hate that team from up along the East Coast, but I just think, yeah, I think I definitely think there'd be a match for the Niners, definitely. But I don't want to be proved wrong on that answer just because I hate the Eagles. Like everybody does. It's just they're definitely the two teams that are setting the pace in the NFC at the minute.
It's not so much. I wouldn't say it's not like I'm bashing against the Eagles because they are like a team I really do despise. But I'm trying to be brutally honest in terms of be a fair analysis of what I'm seeing right now. Because let's be honest, like if the Eagles were to play San Francisco are going to light the floor. Like overall thinking, I know we've kind of went off on a wee tangent here, but if you were to say out of all the teams right now, ranking wise, San Francisco is definitely number one as of right now in terms of how they've played all 5 games. You could even argue they could actually, like, if that's the way they're playing week by week, they could even do a clean sweep of the regular season. They could. They've got the potential to do it.
Yeah.
But whereas we, as Cowboys, we do have potential, but we're just not, for whatever reason, it's just not firing right now.
Do you know what's probably one of the saving graces is that the NFC East is so poor.
Well, we were the NFC beast last year, Jamie. Remember?
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, it's aside from the Eagles and the Cowboys, those other two teams in the division are not really going to challenge either. It's like,
but the Giants were a playoff team last year.
only just though, to be fair. But
the Giants playoffs were expanded last year.
Yeah, but it's like it's you can't get any worse, can you? Like, and that's no disrespect. It's they're obviously going through this certain transition period out there, but it's like it's definitely not the NFC that we're used to, where literally you could look at it week by week and go, right, well, this week the Cowboys are going to win it, and then the week after it could be like, Jesus, the Washington could win it. That's how competitive it used to be. And for years, it was the best division in the league, and now it's like, well, it's really going to be the Cowboys and the Eagles that are going to win the NFC East, and then it's like pick your poison for the rest in it.
I can't recall there's been a consecutive NFC East win for like 20 odd years.
It's the mid-noughties is the last time it happened.
Yeah, it's not. It's never been a back-to-back NFC champions for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Over 20 years. It's always been someone different. It might be Washington one year, it'll be the Dallas next year, it'll be Eagles the following year, might go back to the Giants. Giants lose out again to the Eagles or something like that. It's always forever changing. And that's why I would say our division is the most competitive because there's no dominant. It's not like the Patriots were back in the early 2010s. It's not like Kansas City as of right now. It's not like Denver was under Peyton Manning and stuff like
that. I'm loving Mark's positivity here. Until we see the 49ers bleed, we will think they're unbeatable. Keep in mind, in 81 and 84, the 49ers used to feel they were that way about the Cowboys. You know, and it is true. But look, one question I want to kind of ask you guys before we get out of here. Elizabeth has asked us, she says, they've had a reality check. Let's see what coaching does. And do both of you think Dan Quinn and Mike McCarthy are effectively auditioning for the jobs for next year in these next 12 games?
Oh,
I think Mike McCarthy is. I personally think that it's a little bit like Jason Garrett in a way, in terms of I think the Cowboys want Dan Quinn as the next head coach. It's got a little bit of thing, like you said, that they paid him a lot of money to come back. He could have gone elsewhere and got an head coach's job. He clearly fancies the Cowboys head coaching job. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come back. But I said it probably last year, and I said it again this year. I think the Cowboys have got to make a deep playoff run for Mike McCarthy to even be considered coming back. But then it's then how long would Dan Quinn be willing to wait around another year? But then you could also look at it with the change and him taking the play calling back. Is this him thinking, crap? I could be out at the end of this year. I need to do it how I did it in Green Bay and call the plays and call the shots.
Yeah,
because he's fearful for his job.
I'm going to be honest with you. I have no response to that. I really don't, because it's not in the back of my mind right now.
Yeah,
because the way I'm seeing it right now, like McCarthy's like how many years left is he got his coaching contract? Two more years, something like that.
I'm not sure. So it's just your question was there, so I just said I'd ask.
Yeah, it definitely caught me off guard there, Brian. I'll be honest, but in terms of Dan Quinn, though, to be honest with you, I don't want him as a head coach. I don't, and I'll tell you why. Yeah, he led to the Falcons to a Super Bowl, but he's also responsible for the biggest Super Bowl lead loss. And also the year after, we had the Dallas Cowboys under Jason Garrett. No, was it Jason? No, under Mike McCarthy, actually. Under Mike McCarthy, beat the Atlanta Falcons in one of the biggest comebacks. The squid ball kick. Remember that? Dan Quinn was head coach back then. So I do think like Dan Quinn is more destined to be a defensive coordinator more than a head coach.
Yeah.
This might then quash. I was going to extend on Brian's thing, but I'm assuming Paul's up in it. The kind of something. Dan Quinn or Mike McCarthy, who would you be more confident in getting the Cowboys to a Super Bowl?
Neither.
Come on, Brian, you can't play that game. If you have to pick one, come on. Don't play devil's advocate.
If I was to pick one, I would say McCarthy.
I would probably say Dan Quinn, because defenses win you championships. Dan Quinn gave Kyle Shanahan complete autonomy on offense for the Atlanta Falcons. He got them to a Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan has the San Francisco 49ers consistently challenging for an NFC championship. And that's
a fair point, Brian, because obviously Kyle Shanahan left after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it was a different type of offense when they played against us, when we came back and beat them after that massive comeback. That's a fair statement, but I don't know. Like, it really would depend. If Dan Quinn was to be our next head coach, it really would depend who does he bring in to be our OC. That's the question.
As long as it's not Kellen Moore or Jason Garrett, then I'll be all right.
Yeah,
that's true. See, this is what I meant. Like, I don't know how to respond to it because I'm playing second minds here. Like, I'm thinking about what Dan Quinn did as a head coach. He gave up the biggest Super Bowl lead and lost to the Patriots. Then, obviously, the year after, without Kyle Shanahan, he didn't do that great and ended up losing his job. So that's where my mindset is. But he did make the acquisition of Kyle Shannon as his OC.
Yeah.
Like, it really does depend who he would bring in. So I'm like, you know what I mean? So that's how I'm kind of feeling.
Yeah.
But it's this. But again, this is just way too early to talk about. We're week 5 in the season right now.
Yeah.
Week 5, and we're already talking about this. Come on.
That's how bad this performance was, wasn't it? We're actually getting on to this kind of talk.
Ooh. Like, I think the reason we have to talk in these terms, Paul, is, and it's the unfortunate thing is, we now know what lies in wait in the playoffs. And even if Mike McCarthy does deliver another 10-plus win season, as a front office, you have to look and go, are we going to take 10 win going to the playoffs every year, but not advance to a championship game? Or are we going to try and push it that little bit further and get to that championship game and get back to that Super Bowl?
I don't know, I'm going to say I'm going to go with the first part you said, because it's been like that for nearly 30 years.
Yeah. I'm liking Joe's comment here. He says the only way to get this curse lifted is for Jerry Jones to put Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor.
Oh, amen to that.
Yes.
That could be that's probably. I'm not being superstitious at all, but that could be one of the biggest reasons why. Oh, conspiracy theories 101. Oh my god.
It would be the most Cowboys thing of all time.
Mm.
I know Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl after, but most of that was with Jimmy Johnson's groundwork.
Yeah, it was his foundations.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people say that anybody could have. That team was that good that anybody could have won the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah. Well, that's what Jerry said himself. He reckoned he could have put them over the top. But look, guys, we're nearly an hour and a half into it, so I'd say it's about time we start wrapping things up. So, again, my sincere apologies for my mid-show absence. Irish internet connections sometimes are crap. But Paul, if you want to give the shout out.
Yes, guys, if you're planning going to a Dallas Cowboys this game, be sure to go and check cowboysexperience.com for game tickets, stadium tours, meet and greets, and much, much more. Get to meet legends like Jay Novacek, Drew Pearson, and current Cowboys players, as you can see there on the screen, like Micah Parsons, Travis Frederick. Last week there, they had Peyton Hendershot and Jake Federson there, so plenty of players you can get to meet. And before we do that, be sure to use the promo code UK Cowboys.
And you also get to meet former players.
Yeah, that's why, as I said, Drew Pearson.
Yeah. But what do you also get
the Irish connection?
Jamie, what do you also
get? God.
If you
Let's put it in there.
There we go. Lebarski, you're a terrible man.
That's what I was laughing at.
Jamie, give a shout out to the biggest event of the year.
6 weeks today, the UK Cowboys group will be officially starting its 2023 tour. That's it. We'll call it tour. That's what it is. Yeah. There is still time to jump on if you want to come and join us out there. I think off the top of my head, I think there's 15 of us at the minute that's going out there. There's absolutely everything planned. There's meet and greets. There is tailgates. There is a lot more than that planned. The guys have really outdone themselves on this, and it's going to be one for the memory bank. So if you want to join us, be sure to hit us up on the socials, or even get in touch with Cowboys Experience, because there's still time to join us out in Dallas for the Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, I think the deadline is 2 weeks from now. I think.
And Paul has designed some absolutely cracking hoodies that you're going to see us out in and about in Dallas. So be sure to see that. We'll definitely send loads of videos and pictures, and
Yeah, it's going to look awesome.
it'll be one to remember. It'll be one that we won't remember, but we'll never forget.
Yeah.
And that is a good night from all of us here. We will be back Thursday. Good night.
Night, folks. Dallas forever, Philly for never. Screw the Eagles, as usual.
Stay safe, everybody. Fingers crossed for a bounce back this week.